Today I'm going to open back with a very disturbing turn of events unfolding right before our very eyes. Over the past couple of days, um, we've been hearing, some of you might have heard of the issues that the Public Workers Union are having. I'll begin by sharing with you a clip of Mr. Brian Grimes, the president of the PWU, Public Workers Union, as he spoke to the media on Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2025.
As I stand here, I am incredulous. We have received a document from the Office of the Cabinet Secretary demanding that we provide the register at our AGM held March 28, 2024, demanding that we demonstrate that there was consultation in regards to the Jews, which were amended by a decision taken by our members at the AGM. We find this fascinating. We find this out of bounds. There are hardly any adjectives I can use to describe how, in our view, we view this as out of bounds. First of all, under Article 8 of the PW Constitution, it states clearly that the AGM is the highest decision-making body, right? So we don't have to go around as foot soldiers on the ground. This is constitutional, right, to discuss matters at that level. So we here at the union are curious as to what the position of cabinet is on this, because as I speak here, yes, we have sent back correspondence in regards to it. As I speak here, the funds, the union dues, have practically been garnished, and we are unable to continue our operations here at the PW, right? So this is a very, very serious matter. I don't know what the origin of this matter is, really. We have done our due diligence. Our members have decided. We had a robust discussion, and we were fully correct at the AGM held in March. And in fact, in terms of the implementation, several months after it was implemented, it will be implemented, which is January. So yes, that took place, and we did all we had to do. We followed all procedure, and the members themselves decided. This was not a walk in the park or a frolic by the board of the Grenada Public Workers Union. This was to ensure the survival of our organization. And now we have, it seems as though the cabinet have interfered in the affairs of the Grenada Public Workers Union, and we are aghast and we are appalled at this. Hopefully this can be rectified peacefully, because as it stands now, we are unsure of how we are going to pay our staff at the end of the month. So since December, the latter part, let's say the second by monthly part of December of last year, we have not gotten any dues, and it goes up to now. So what is really going on? They are hamstringing the operations. I would say government is hamstringing the operations of the union, and we find that very sad. We hope it is just some sort of misunderstanding, administrative error, as opposed to a definitive policy decision to hamstring the affairs of the PW, the operational affairs of the PW. That will be union busting 101. So I think the matter is serious enough for it to go public. We have since sent back correspondence to the office of the CAPSEC, and we hope there can be a peaceful resolution to this matter. But in fact, it is no light matter.
The attempt by the cabinet, through the cabinet secretary, is set out to directly meddle and destroy the affairs of the Public Workers Union. Two letters came from the Secretary of the Cabinet, Ms. Cavellette. The first letter requested attendance record of the PWAGM, the minutes of the AGM, provide evidence of extensive consultation across the public service. Now, the government, the cabinet of Grenada, is attempting to get involved in the business of the union, which is separate from the executive. Totally. The union is totally separate. The second letter requested, again, minutes of the AGM, attendance records, and evidence of consultation. What has that to do with the cabinet of Grenada? This is something serious and severe enough for persons nationally to take a strong look into. Amongst all of that, there is an interesting development. Plans are in train, and listen carefully, to go to Parliament to pass a bill naming all workers essential workers. Now you might wonder what was that to do with this. The mischief in this is to ensure that workers will not be able to take industrial actions. Not sure if you know that. Essential workers, police officers, and so they don't normally, I think it's even against the law for them to take part in industrial action, like sick out and all that kind of stuff. So apparently, our people loving administration is planning to go to court, to go to parliament, sorry, to pass bills making all workers essential workers. Folks, I feel like I'm having a nightmare. I mean, is this for real? Are we living in 2025? Sometimes I feel like we're living in what was called the dark ages, where we have a decline in intellectual, cultural, and economic advancement being governed by a centralized government. The Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, did say and spoke of administrations not using the power that they have. And so I'm guessing here that he is using up all his powers. What we are witnessing here is a clear case of union busting. And therefore, the nation, all workers, all organizations, all unions need to stand in solidarity with the Public Workers Union, the PWU. That interference is not acceptable and should not be tolerated. And this is not about PWU. This is about a government that is running a dictatorship ruling. And it has to be nipped in the bud. If there are only 2.5 years in office and we are experiencing this level of dictatorship, Robert Mugabe style dictatorship, then God help us if we have to go up to 2027 or worse yet, have them return to power. God help us. And you know what? This is the most submissive and docile I have seen unions on this island, and the workers in Grenada in my lifetime, my adult lifetime, should I say. They're just there. And yet still, you're trying to get into their business, trying to bust the union, months upon months. The unions, especially the teacher unions, marched and marched and marched in protest in the year 2020, 21, 22, right up to the 2022 elections. And the then administration didn't try getting into and destroying the union. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, the union marched in the streets for months and wasn't treated like this by the then administration. This NDC administration has destroyed the public service and is about to put the final nail in their coffin. Where is Mr. Integrity, Tillman Thomas? Where is V. Nazim Burke? Guys who stood up against this type of behavior. Simon Says is calling on our religious leaders, civil society, union leaders, come out and stand in solidarity with the Public Workers Union. Today, public workers are prosecuted for associating with certain individuals, all sorts of clauses extra to be signed. Now listen to this release put out by this administration. And it says the government of Grenada, circular number 66, 2024, from Chief Education Officer, Ministry of Education, to officers of the schools and the curriculum divisions, heads of students, support service units, testing and the measurements unit, managers, supervisors, Grenada Union of Teachers, Principals, and staff of all public pre-primary, primary, and secondary schools, October 21st, 2024. Subject: use of social media by public officers. The Ministry of Education informs that the Public Service Commission has been made aware of social media posts by public officers that have the potential to bring the service into disrepute. In this regard, public officers are advised to avoid making posts on social media that could reasonably be determined to tarnish both the reputation and that of the public service. The Commission requests all public officers to exercise responsibility in their pronouncements on social media and their broadcast platforms. Following this circular, the Commission will take appropriate action should it be reported that officers, through their posts, have brought both themselves and the public service to disrepute. Principals are asked to bring this circular to the attention of all officers on staff who are required to sign a copy to indicate that they have read and understand its contents. Kindly return the signed copy to the office of the Chief Education Officer on Monday, November 18, 2024. And this letter is signed by Mr. Dominic Jeremiah, Chief Education Officer. Workers are afraid to be live on podcasts. Well, on certain programs, that's for sure. Simon Says, for one. I have met and been meeting workers daily. And they were saying to me, I listen to you, but I can't come on the live, the premiere, because I don't want them to see me on there. Can you imagine this? So I normally wait for it to finish and then go back. Yeah, I get this daily from workers. You guys are in sinking sand. And you know what? There's no way up from here. No way up. And all this from an administration whose supporters are lawless and disrespectful to the max. Take a look at this. Happened, and I'm showing you photos of a woman's general meeting of the NDC Women's Arm. Took place on Sunday, the 16th of February, at somewhere in St. Mark. Now, the lady in the red with her hands up in the air, full of energy, is a public officer, a teacher, I was told. And the other photo, the lady in the yellow dress with the black blazer, Miss Amanda Jack, is also a public officer, a teacher at the Tamsisi in Carriacou. And worse than that, she is in charge of the Parliamentary Elections Office in Carriacou. Proudly sitting there at an NDC Women's Arm meeting, wearing the colors and all, in the presence of the Prime Minister and other members of his cabinet. It continues to be allowed. It has always happened. To me, the ones who are up front and on the fence at NDC rallies, they got promoted after the elections. And yet still you're writing this hogwash letter wanting officers to sign and return. And so that is why they're afraid to go on social media, even to listen to a podcast, because you all there peeping them as peeping toms. The upcoming elections of the PWU is being tainted by operatives of the NDC administration openly supporting the candidate Fimber Thomas, who is vying for president and going up against the now PRO, Ms. Daisy Hazard. If you look on the screen, you'll see a flyer being shared and supported by Mr. Orlando Romaine. Workers, be warned of the boogeyman. Folks, this is a very serious issue and it must not be taken lightly. Today is PWU. Tomorrow is one of you right there inside the public service. Pay attention. Pay attention.